Hey guys, today we are going to try to do some risk assessment using hazard identification in Saphira. So I am building a home robot. I'm going to seed my project by generating some compliance evidence to start our process. So it'll be ref 28, we'll say it's text, and we'll just say that this is an image of robot. And what we're going to do is we're going to apply some techniques from ISO 13482 and 13857 to identifying exactly what could go wrong with your product and whether it's a compliance risk in launching it. So first, let's upload the file that is the image of this robot. I have that right here. It's a home robot. Beautiful. So this is a real life product that someone had built in the past, and we're going to try to analyze a few key properties that can cause issues with deployment of this robot in the home, such as sharp corners, such as areas where fingers or hair could get stuck, the kinds of things that you will need to be able to prove you have safely handled if you want to sell a UL marked or CE marked product for the home. So let's check this box as we have right here. Go to Actions, Generate Child Items, and go to Identify Hazards. Now, we have a bunch of different mechanisms for identifying hazards. We'll do this both in the visual domain and in the specific textual domain. We can do this based on 13482, which is what we'll do right now. Or if you have an industrial system, like for example, a work cell, then you can actually identify using safety distances whether or not you're fulfilling your regulatory obligations on that axis. We can also apply this to completely different verticals, such as trying to analyze P&ID diagrams or system state charts for risks of chemical exposure, biological and health hazards, a wide variety of different topics. And finally, we can actually run a risk assessment as you need. So we're just going to add all of these ones as guidelines here, and we're going to hit generate, and it'll take a few seconds to generate. I'll be back in 1 sec. All right, we completed doing that after just a couple more seconds, and we have some context that we utilized, which was we were inspecting this robot for hazards. We established that it's used in a household environment, that it has natural ventilation use, and no external forces applied to the robot. And what we can see here is that there are movable parts that are particular issues based on that analysis. So we can click in here and view highlights of exactly the movable parts that are of concern. And you can even go into details and view analyses of whether or not this is a compliance risk and why it is a compliance risk. This is just the very start. One of the next things we can do is we can actually add a CAD file for this product. So I'm actually going to add a CAD file for another home robot, and we're going to analyze that file in a much more dynamic way. So let me save the changes. I will send this off. I will click here. And oops, I'm actually on ref 29, and I'm going to upload a step file right here. All right, it's going to take about 20 seconds, and what it's going to do is it's going to take the optimal angles of the step file to analyze. Let's let it run for a couple seconds. All right, you can see here now how we flattened out this image to look for specifically the pieces that are most impactful for hazard identification. We can check this now. We can go through the same life cycle. We can click Identify Hazards, add the service robot guidelines, and give it a shot. And we'll come back in just a sec. Here we are as we've completed, and you can see the assumptions that we made this time around and the wide variety of different possible hazards that we presented, such as sharp edges and protrusions, which are highlighted right here, as you can expect, the protrusions from the robot, moving tracks and pinch points, as you can expect, which are highlighted right there, and protruding forks, as you can expect right there. Now, all of these are key considerations if you want to build a compliant robot for home use. If you are building one of these, send us your CAD file, try out the platform, and we can build your exact roadmap to building a compliant product today. Thanks. Bye.